record, and then we're going to do this. Guys, we are in and we are live. Welcome to the podcast. My name is Ian Lee.
Hi, I'm Catherine Boyle.
We put this podcast out every single goddamn week.
Yeah, whether you like it or not.
Last week we put 2 out because it was the full 3-hour show. Ian, Catherine, how can you afford to put out a free show? Because people pay for this show for you. They are our Patreons. And we, each and every one of them, if they wanted, I would give a consensual reach around.
What?
Because well, if you're in the, let's be honest, if you're in the £10 and above tier,
A £10 tug.
Are you going to chomp? Let's just wait for you to chomp that sweet.
I'm stuck in it.
She's not. Okay, we're just going to wait for that.
You're making me hurry it up. You're impinging on my enjoyment.
I'm not impinging on anything. No. I am your enjoyment. Just when you're ready, because I've got a long list. No one's going to want to sign up to the patreon.com/Ian and Catherine. It's in the show notes.
Some of them love this.
I suppose so. Right, so we've got new Patreon. We've got quite a few new Patreons, who I would like to welcome. I want to welcome Kieran. Excuse me, Kieran. I don't have my glasses on. Let's put the glasses on. Kieran
Make
Charlton.
sure you put the right ones on.
Kieran Charlton, I want to say thank you. I would love to say thank you to Vincent Lockyer.
Yeah.
I really want to thank Chris Hutchings, Frank James White. That's 4. That's a lot. Thank you very much. If you want more info, patreon.com/Ian and Catherine. I Catherine with a K. A lot to talk about.
Your collaboration is appreciated.
A lot to talk about tonight, Catherine. Shall I go through my list?
Yes.
Of things? Let's go through. Well, first of all,
I've had the Lurgate. Has anyone else had this Lurgate apart from me and Scott Balcony? Because apparently we are early adopters.
You've been rotten, but it didn't last very long.
3 days.
Yeah.
But actually, what you don't realise is that I was sickening before that.
You were
just
sickening.
the 3 days that it just really got me.
Yep.
It just really got me. Headache, like permanent headache. Like it was like a hangover without the party. It was rubbish. Headache, dry eyes, feeling like this. 3 days. And now I've just got a slightly snotty nose, but apart from that, I'm back.
And a slightly snotty attitude. Right.
Well, that is permanente.
I'm glad you're feeling better.
Thanks.
Where to start? Oh, here's a question for people in the chat. We were trying to think in like the early seasons of Hollyoaks, there was a thick lad. Now, we thought he was called Tinhead, but Tinhead was in Brookside. Was he called Buckethead or something? If someone in the chat could let us know. If we don't know by the end of the show, then listener, it's up to you. You can shout at your podcast app.
Harsh has had it.
Harsh has had the
Lurgy.
Why have I written down the best ever headphones? Why have I written that down?
Best ever headphones.
Bombhead.
Bombhead. I remember.
Why have I written down the best? So I make notes I make a little draft email. It's got a few things on here, and I've written the best. Oh.
Here we go.
Come closer.
Here we go. There's a
closer.
story.
Because you got earbuds.
Yeah.
And my boys laugh because I call them headphones. They're what?
They're not headphones, are they?
So tell me, but you have an aversion to earbuds.
I don't like them. I don't like this. This, I think I've got delicate auricular openings. And so I don't like the pressure. You might notice that towards the end of the show,
don't need this
I tend to take these out because my ear starts to really
That's why I don't wear them anymore. We were trying to be all professional and we saw Stephen Page do it. So, we'll do that because I haven't done it before.
Don't like it. In fact, I don't need them in now, do I? Take them out. I really don't like the sensation of having them there. I don't like it.
New sensation.
So I bought some new earbuds because I've got a new phone that requires them. It's not got a hole for sticking your headphones in. Don't enjoy it, but my youngest said, but why did you buy them then? I went, well, because at some point I might want to listen to something quietly.
Her daughters do not have a northern accent, but when they speak to her, they take the piss out of her by speaking in that accent that Catherine just did.
They do that, don't they? And it's always like that. And she'll say, "Oh, I don't think I can do it. Oh, hang on a minute." She screws her face up like a flipping butthole. Then apparently that's how
Yeah, she does
we
a very
speak.
good impression. Yeah.
My brethren from the north.
She made a
Very
quiz
rude.
for you guys, and then it didn't get done for some reason, so we did the quiz. It was a bloody good quiz.
It was really good. It was brain rot.
Yeah,
which,
brain
as
rot
you
quiz.
know, was a teenage language. So yeah, I got these earphones. I don't like them, but I have them.
Well, you said, "Oh, they're too full in my ear."
Yeah.
And I said, "Well, you know they come with smaller nodules." No, I think these are the smallest.
They're all the same
Go and have a look
nubbins.
at the. Go and have a look at the. And there were much smaller nodules that,
Yeah.
that fitted your delicate
Holes.
little holes.
But you know, they're still uncomfortable, but less so. So yes, you were right about something. Well done. Thank you.
Well, that got me to thinking. Well, what are the best ever headphones I've ever had? And I remember thinking, peak headphone for me. So you had the orange ones with the orange stuff, and you could pull it a bit.
Yeah,
make
but
it
they
longer.
just sort of sat on your ears, didn't they?
Then they got rid of the orange and it went black.
Yeah.
Right.
And then they went sort of ear shaped almost, like they were sort of more
They
like an egg.
Do you right? Okay. What came after that?
Then there was like a headband with bits that stuck in like
The
that.
best headphones ever.
No.
The best headphones ever. The ones with the metal band over your head that's stuck in. The audio quality does not get any better than those headies.
No.
The best.
I like a big headphone with a big cushion. The radio ones I had years and years ago, DB20s they called.
Could be.
Beautiful, very velvety cushioning around here, really good. I've got some Bose
I
headphones
got some Bose in the box.
that we were given. Do you remember? And I've still got those, and they're still going strong.
I don't remember those
really
Bose, but I got
lovely
given some
headphones.
more Bose.
Yeah.
Those were the best, the ones that went in the ears.
The noise cancelling Bose scare me a little bit because they really do cancel noise. It's like
Sorry?
Is it,
I don't
it's like being in isolation.
I've got AirPods, right?
Or
I don't
Mr.
have an
and
Apple.
Mrs.
And I don't like, sometimes I accidentally knock it, and then I have to Google how to undo it. The noise cancelling, because you hear them in your ear, then they go,
Yeah. And then you're in space.
I do not like that at all. Cat update. Hope, who is now Abby, is going to her new home tomorrow. She's a shoulder cat, lovely guy, doesn't live far from here, got a beautiful house, big old garden.
Two shoulders.
2 shoulders. He's going to collect her at 11:30 tomorrow. Fantastic. She's going to begin her new adventure. Meanwhile, my 3 cats, Lucky, the OGs, Lucky, Pats, Biggest, have been joined, as you know, by 4th cat, Lucy Apples. It is going terribly. It's going terribly. Pats now doesn't come down from upstairs, and when I bring her down for her food, she just runs out into the garden and hides in the bushes, and I have to go and find her. Biggest is fine. Lux is hiding in a cupboard in a cubby hole in the bathroom, and I've had to put a bandage on her because for the last week, the cats, when they fight, they'll often go for the base of the tail, and her fur has come off the base of the tail, and she's got proper punctured skin bite marks, and there was a big one today as well. So there's 3 bite marks. So today I cleaned it up. I've been spraying disinfectant, but I cleaned it up, disinfectant. I put a bandage on, but she's now hiding up there. So
The other thing is that when a cat is injured, they are more of a target, aren't they?
yeah. So we are going back to basics. So Lucy Apples is now in the living room, and that is where she will stay for the next 2 or 3 weeks. That is where she will stay. Once Hope goes tomorrow, Operation Reintegration will begin, and I'm going to watch a Jackson Galaxy. I've got in touch with a pet psychologist, behaviorist.
Yes.
It's expensive. Have a guess.
Couple of hundred.
350 for an hour. However, do you know what? Because there's now part of me feels bad for those 2 up there because they're really suffering, and I don't want them to suffer. And Lucy Apples won't be happy with it. She's been a real challenge, and one that sometimes I regret, and then I feel bad for regretting because I'm going to make it work. And when it works, when all 4 sleep on my bed one night, success. So she now lives in the living room. Access to the kitchen sometimes, and she's in there for the next 2 or 3 weeks. I'm going to watch Jackson Galaxy. I'm going to try that. Right. I've told the RSPCA no more Fosters for a while. I need to focus on this, and they're cool with that. They get it. And we'll see what happens. Now, if it hasn't worked in a month, I'm going to get the behaviourist in. I've got no problem. I think, it's a very specialist niche thing. She gets great reviews. I'm going to go in. Also, as some of you may know, I was hoping to get an extension bill, and then I had some builders come round and give me a quote. Let's just say I ain't getting no extension bill, so it means I got a little bit of money that I can afford to put into something like this. And they're my kids, and I feel terrible that those two are upset. So we're going to give it a month. We're going to see how it goes. But it's a little bit, it's a little bit upsetting.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
It's horrible. When I first got the kittens and I had them, and they were tiny, 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 and my house is largely open plan, so I couldn't shut them away in the living room, because the living room is the whole downstairs. And Willow I had to keep them in this sort of little tent thing, really, because
yeah, I remember that.
to keep them safe.
Yeah.
And she was rushing the tent and growling at them, and she still swears at them, but it's nowhere near as bad as it was, and certainly not at the level you've got where you're feeling like you've got to separate them because they're ripping chunks out of each other.
We will get there. It's just taking a while. All the stuff was going on. It's now there's now a police investigation, Owen. So ixnay on that, right? But as a result of that, I've started seeing a counsellor again. Very, very nice guy. We've had 2 sessions, and I'm really enjoying it. I saw him today, and let's get into the heavy shit. Should we get into the heavy shit?
Okay.
Serious time. This will sound weird, and some people will listen to this and go, "Oh, what a horrible person." How do I know they'll do that? Because they comment on the YouTube. I've had some really weird comments recently on the YouTube about how we're shit, about we don't get many views. Some guy wrote, "Oh, my mum gets more views doing knitting."
Okay, good for her.
That was for a short that was advertised in the show. What?
But you know why?
Go on.
Because those people
Yeah.
couldn't get to us before, and now we're out again.
Oh,
Because some people just really loved it and loved hate
honestly,
watching.
Honestly, I was speaking to someone earlier in the week about self-esteem, and they said, "Well, how are you affected by what people think of you? That thing of what other people think of me is none of my business." And I said, "Yeah, I used to be a lot, and now unless I'm feeling really vulnerable, most of the time I could not give a shit." So these people leave snarky comments on you. I can't give a fuck. I tend to pin them to the top so other people can see what pricks they are.
Yeah.
But anyway, so some people will have a go at me for this, but
That's all right.
so I'm going to say it. My mum's in the care home. I've seen her once this year.
Right.
And I don't say that with any pride, right? I've seen her once this year, and actually I feel a bit guilty. I'm going to take the boys to see her next week, and and I've been really, and I'm not proud of this in the slightest, but I've been really thinking about why, what is the reluctance to go. It's made slightly easier by the fact that she's kind of with it but not, and time is very fluid to her. If I rocked up today, she would think I could say, "Oh, I was here last week. Do you remember?" "Oh, yeah, I remember that." There's that. And so I'm seeing this counsellor. Obviously, we're talking about some heavy shit. And I'm just trying to filter what I want to say and what I can say and what I can't say and what I don't want to say. But this stuff that's going on with the Cubs, and it's made me realise, or reminded me, my relationship with my mum was fucked up. It was not a healthy, emotional relationship. I told you this before, didn't I? When my dad left when I was 14, she said, "Oh, you're my husband now." Have I told you that?
Yeah.
That's not a great thing. And I love my mum very much, right? This is not me going in and I love her very much. But, all right, I don't know if I shared this with you. Can I share something? This is really intimate, right? And maybe I've told you this. But the night, God, we're getting into the stuff. Let's do it. The night I lost my virginity, I had a massive row with my mum on the phone because she knew where I'd gone and what I was going to do. Oh. And then I went home the next day and I had a massive row with my mum because I'd lied to her about where I was going. and what I was doing.
Right.
And that will fuck you up quite a bit, won't it? That will fuck you up.
Yeah.
It's a big one, right? Have I
yeah.
told you that?
No,
before?
you
I
haven't. But that makes absolute sense when you think about the issues you've had with shame around that stuff.
Yeah. And there are, and I'm not saying that to badmouth my mum. It's a thing that came up.
I was going to say, saying that, I would be pissed off if my daughter lied to me about where she was. That would frighten me.
I was 17, but still,
Yeah.
I said I was off to studying at a mate's house, and
you
my
were,
mum my mum phoned him up, and he caved in immediately. But yeah, an argument before you do it, and then the day after you've done it from your mum. And here's something that I may welcome, David Turners. You're getting a heavy show tonight, my friend. I'm going to have to mute the WhatsApp group I'm with David Turners. And here's the thing, right? So Mum got very, very ill at 40, and at 56, the decision had to be made primarily by me. Other family was involved. I had to sign the paper to put her into a care home. I had to sign it. And it caused great ructions. I didn't speak to my aunts for years and years and years. We've made peace now, which is fantastic, and I love it. But and I think I don't know. For the first 18 months of her being in a care home, I would get a phone call pretty much every night, 11 o'clock at night, 1 o'clock in the morning. Why have you done this to me? Why have you put me in here? I hate you. You are torturing me. Why have you done this? What I want you to do is buy me a car, bring it here, and I will drive home. She couldn't even fucking walk, you know. And I would take it, and I would say, and then she would accuse me, and she would tell my aunts that I was stealing her money and all of this, when actually I was doing everything I could to protect it, and I didn't do very well. But I had 18 months of that. A year to 18 months of that. And that will get you down a bit. That will wear you down quite a bit. And I've done so much stuff in between. Where am I going with this? I don't know. There's a part of me that resents my mum, and I don't really want to go and see her, which feels like a terrible thing. Hello, Pat. You going to come downstairs? It'll be the first time you've been downstairs on your own for ages. Hello, Patty. Come down.
She's just peeping.
Come and have a cuddle like the old days. If she comes down, that means it's working. Why am I saying this? I guess I'm trying to it's on my mind because I was in a therapist room 4 hours ago. And I spoke to Chip the other day. He sends his love. And I guess I'm trying to work stuff out. I don't know why I haven't revealed this much stuff on a podcast or a show for ages. It just feels I'm trying to figure out stuff in my head, I guess, and trying to maybe make myself feel a bit better for not going. Here's the thing. I feel, and I know my sister sometimes watches this, and I don't know if she's been in for a while, but if you're here and this makes you uncomfortable, I'm sorry. I feel that my mum died about 20 years ago, 25 years ago, I think, when I became kind of the nurse, when I was looking at, when she had carers going in and it wasn't enough, and I was thinking, right, could I afford for a live-in nurse? Could I afford to get a lift put in her house? Could I afford could I move there? Could I move her to me? Could we buy it? Yeah, well, I was doing all of that, and I would get phone calls from her saying, I'm on the floor, covered in my mess. Can you come and help me? I lived an hour away. And I'd jump in the car and I'd go and do it. So I kind of feel, I don't know if anyone can identify with this. I kind of feel, I always had the pressure that I was the favourite, which is something at the time I leaned into, but even then made me uncomfortable. It makes me uncomfortable now. When my sister passed her driving test, she wasn't allowed to use Mum's car. When I did, I was. That's a big one. And even then I thought, oh, fuck, this ain't right. But I've got a car and I'm 17, so I'm going to use it. And I love my sister so dearly. And I have no idea, very little idea, and it's not for me to say what her journey was, but I love her so dearly. And I feel bad that I kind of leaned into that.
Kids are going to kid, aren't they?
Oh yeah, of course, totally. And she will have her own baggage that she has dealt with or is dealing with. And we, my sister have periods of being close and not being close, but I love her very, very much, and she means the world to me now. So I hope she isn't offended by me saying this, but I feel like my mum died 25 years ago. The boys will sometimes see pictures of her younger, and I remember Alex saying, "Oh, I didn't know Nanny Linda used to be able to stand."
Yeah.
That's a big one, man. That's a big one. I am then reminded of the scene, not many people have seen it, the Kids in the Hall movie, Brain Candy, which is very, very hit and miss. I'm reminded of the scene where it's Christmas and the grandmother has got the table that's full, there's decorations up, there's the tree and there's mountains of food, and her son knocks on the door, comes in, coat on, got a baby, got a little kid. "Hey, Mum, say hello to Grandma, Merry Christmas." "Oh, I've got you, sir." "No, we can't stay, we're off to the la la la." And I kind of feel like that. But that's where we are. We're having a laugh tonight, aren't we, guys? Yeah, having a laugh.
I think what you said there about feeling like your mum died a long time ago, I think I've heard that before from people whose parents, one or the other, sometimes both, have got an illness that, takes them away. A big chunk of them away.
I tell you why I feel confident saying this, and this will sound weird, right? But... and David Turners is in the room, he might have gone. The Computer Game Show is, without a shadow of a doubt, my favourite podcast. I love it. And this week was their 9th year. Imagine that. Mm-hmm. And it's so good. And I love them. And I'm, very close to David. I'm quite close to James. Not so close to the other guys, but I think they're fucking brilliant, right? And for the show this week, it was supposed to be... the whole show is going to be us responding to listeners' comments. It wasn't. It was about Switch too. But there was a lot of it. And they had loads of email. They get a lot of emails from dads, young dads, or new dads, who don't know the fuck they're doing. So they'll email in for advice. And they get a lot of emails from people saying, "You got me through COVID." And we've had a lot of emails from people saying, I bumped into someone, I cannot remember your name, sir, when I went to the cave in Stroud, who said that I had 2 people come up and say they were fans.
That stuff cancels out all the crappy stuff. Yeah. Right, here's the thing. You were talking earlier about the YouTube comments. Some people just think that that's their default setting. I see something online and I have to say something about it. Okay. I don't... as you know, I do not take criticism from people who aren't doing it themselves. If you don't know, if you've not got the balls to do it, I will not hear you chucking you insults from the shadows. Goodbye. I'm not interested. Because to me, they are not having a go at me as a real person. They don't know me. They're not a real person to me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But when you've got people like that who say that we've had a positive impact at a time when they were isolated in whatever reason. And COVID was a weird time, right? Mm-hmm. We know Stephen Page, those concerts meant so much to us.
We'd get food and drinks, and are you going in? I'm going in now. And then we'd look, they were great, man. He had 1,000 people at the early ones.
It was a night off for us, right? And so that means something. The rest of it's bullshit. The rest of it is someone else barking behind a fence. It's a tiny little Yorkshire Terrier yapping behind a fence. And if you open the fence and went, "Go on then, have a go," they wouldn't dare. Because they've not got it in them. So whatever. But that stuff I think is really important.
I think it is, right? And also the
connection.
The TCGS crew do a Patreon show, which I don't pay for, but I found a link. So I stole a link. So I get it. And in that they talk more about personal shit that's going on for them. Sometimes it's quite heavy shit. And I know that Matt is having a tough time. I have no idea what is going on. But the fact that he wasn't there for their 9th anniversary show, probably something quite heavy. And it kind and listening to their show this week and being reminded of their Patreon show, we made a deliberate decision to pull back from the personal stuff. We made that decision. And I do look back sometimes on the talk radio shows in particular and think, "Oh, fuck, really? Do I really want to have a breakdown on air? Is that something I want my kids to be aware of?"
I never did any of that.
No, you didn't. You're absolutely right. I did.
For my reasons. But my reasons were, when I started presenting shows on the radio, they came along with a stalker.
Yeah.
And so I've always been really careful about the amount of personal stuff I give, because a lot of the stories that I would be telling would be my children's stories, or, at the time, my husband's stories or my parents' stories. And that's no one else's business. And it's not my business to tell their stories either. But also, I was always been really mindful of just keeping that kind of healthy boundary there, because some people don't see it. Some people have no sense for it, do they? And you only need one. And so I think from being very young, and I was quite young when I started presenting shows on the radio, I was in my early 20s, I've just been really careful about that, really careful. Not because I don't like the people that we speak to on the radio, not that I haven't made actual friends through doing this show, but I am just really careful, because for me, my instinct is that it could be dangerous. I've had people waiting in car parks for me.
You've had that, yeah.
So that's why I've been really careful. But also, I came through as a journalist, and it's not
thing.
about me.
So in that case, it was me then that made a conscious effort to kind of pull away from that. But the stuff is out there, and I did it, and it is what it is, and some of it helped people, some of it didn't help. Well, I did have a breakdown. I don't fucking want that.
Some people aren't worthy of knowing that stuff. That's the thing I have. As someone that cares about you, not everyone can be trusted with dealing with that, with the privilege of knowing that stuff.
However, I am now softening my attitude towards that, and I'm wondering, percolating, is there not even a halfway point, is there a quarter-way point? And so in summary, and we're going to end with a fun thing, in summary, what has been going on in regards to what happened to me when I was 8-9 years old has brought up a lot of stuff. Going back into therapy, listening to the TCGS 9-year anniversary and being reminded of their Patreon shows. All of this is helping me think, well, maybe, okay, so I went back completely the other way and now I just fanny about, which is fine. Is there a point between those two extremes that I would be comfortable with, that I would find helpful, and that other people might find helpful and interesting? And it is slightly different because now I'm working as a counsellor, so I have slightly different language and slightly different ideas of what. There we go. I'm thinking out loud.
Yeah.
Should we do something fun before?
Go on.
You didn't know that Lee Francis was Avid Merrian?
I didn't. I had a temporary. I was not very well the other day. Do you remember?
Hang on a minute. Someone said something. Oh, that's Lee Francis. You went, what?
I reached for Stu Francis, but Lee Francis came through, and I said, "Who's Lee Francis?" And for that moment, I did know it was him, but I did.
No, you didn't.
I did, but I couldn't remember whether his name was Lee.
No, that's not what happened.
It is.
I was there.
I know.
You were out of it.
It was. I had a flipping brain fart for 3 days.
You looked at me and went, "Hang on a minute. Are you saying Lee Francis is Avid Merrian?"
No, is that his name? I know Avid Merrian's not a real person.
What? And finally, in the dying minutes of the show, I've been dying for the last 20 minutes, but I listened. I had 5 Live, my car tuned to 5 Live, because I had a very exciting email yesterday at 5:30 from a producer of Drive Time saying, "Ian, we're doing a show about Pulp's new album, but someone's mentioned the Man from Del Monte. Would one of them come on?" Oh, yes, they will. Big show in Manchester Saturday. So my radio's tuned to 5 Live. However, today I was in the car and I was listening to Drive on 5 Live, and they said, I don't quite remember where this came from. They said, right, okay, so we are looking for your cake stories. So give us a call with your cake stories. Maybe you have a bad cake story like this. And they played a bit of MacArthur Park.
Someone left a cake out in the rain.
And someone
sweet green icing.
Or maybe you had a good cake story like this. What song did they play?
Sweet Like Chocolate?
No. It's Cake.
Cake by the Ocean.
Yeah, you got it.
That's not about cake, though. That's about bottoms.
It's about anal sex on the beach.
No, it's about...
Imagine if it played Cake by the Ocean. Here we go.
Big juicy bums.
Oh, where is...
It's my final word on the matter.
Hang on a minute. The song... I've lost the alarm, but we're going to find the song that was being played on the alarm. It was the... Oh, my God, it was this.
Been a good friend, and that's in the thick and thin, and I know it's never gonna end.
Now that... Summertime. That's not the Isley Brothers. Who's this?
Summer Breeze, Seals and Crofts.
Oh.
Summer Breeze.
That was on the Dorothy Perkins tape when I used to work in the shop. That went around 3 times. Home time
Guys,
for me.
if you want to hear the Dorothy Perkins story, you
It's over.
have to sign up to patreon.com/Ian and Catherine. Thank you very much for listening. Chowsy chow chows. Absolute bunch of